There's a man who made billions of people laugh, often without saying a single word. For decades he hid in plain sight behind rubber expressions and perfectly timed chaos. But now, at 71, Rowan Atkinson is finally talking. And what he's revealed changes everything you thought you knew about him. Before the fame, before Mr. Bean, before any of it, there was a boy in County Durham who could barely get a sentence out. Around age 5, Rowan developed a severe stutter. Words didn't come easy. Conversations felt like traps. School, which should have been a safe place, became something closer to a daily ordeal. Other kids mocked him. Some called him strange. One of those classmates who later recalled just how hard those years were. A young Tony Blair. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The moment Rowan stepped onto a stage, the stutter vanished. Completely. Something shifted the instant he became someone else. The fear loosened its grip. The hesitation melted away. In its place came a clarity and confidence he had never felt before. He didn't need words to connect with people. He just needed a stage. And slowly, without even realizing it, a limitation was beginning to transform into something else entirely. But he didn't run straight toward the spotlight. Instead, he buried himself in books. He enrolled at Newcastle University to study electrical and electronic engineering, a field demanding precision, logic, and deep analytical thinking. He didn't just pass, he excelled. Then he pushed further, earning a master's degree at Oxford's Queen's College, even venturing into doctoral research. And yet, something unexpected was quietly taking root on the side. At Oxford, he began dabbling in university comedy groups, the Oxford Review, the Experimental Theatre Club. What started as a distraction from heavy coursework slowly revealed itself as something far more serious. The same disciplined mind that solved engineering problems was now being applied to something entirely different. The architecture of a joke, the geometry of a physical gag, the precise timing of silence. What nobody saw coming was how perfectly those two worlds would collide. The analytical training wasn't separate from the comedy, it was the engine behind it. Every twitch, every pause, every exaggerated stumble you'd later see in Mr. Bean was the product of a mind trained to observe, calculate, and execute with precision. The science student and the silent clown were always the same person. His rise wasn't instant either. In 1979, a small show called The Atkinson People gave early hints of what was possible. Then came Not the 9 O'Clock News, a television project that nearly collapsed before it found its footing. Critics weren't kind. Audiences were thin. It looked like it might quietly disappear. But then it didn't. Given a second chance, the show found its rhythm, and Rowan found his confidence. A sketch called Gerald the Gorilla, bold, chaotic, brilliantly strange, announced to anyone paying attention that this was not an ordinary comedian. Then came Blackadder. Slow to build, but devastating once it hit its stride. By the final series, Blackadder Goes Forth, the show had done something almost no comedy manages. It made people laugh and then left them in stunned silence. Humor and genuine emotion sharing the same frame. It was a masterclass, but even that wasn't the role that would define him forever. That came in 1990. Mr. Bean arrived, and the world had never quite seen anything like it. A character who barely spoke, yet somehow communicated everything. No language barrier, no subtitles needed, just a raised eyebrow, a hunched walk, and a teddy bear. The show reached over 200 countries. Films followed. Merchandise flooded the world. 1 billion online views and counting, with new generations still discovering him today. And yet, none of that noise reached the man inside, because behind every performance was a reality the audience never saw. Playing Mr. Bean wasn't joyful work, it was grueling. Every movement had to be exact, every expression calculated and controlled. The physicality alone was exhausting, and as the years passed, it only became harder to sustain. After performances, Rowan was often completely hollowed out, drained in ways that didn't show on camera. And here's the part that surprises everyone. He didn't always enjoy it, not even close. Beneath the applause, a quiet voice had followed. Him for decades. It questioned whether he truly deserved any of it, whether the talent was real, whether the admiration was earned. The world looked at him and saw a genius. He looked in the mirror and saw someone still trying to measure up. That's not false modesty. That's a man who spent his life performing brilliance while privately doubting he possessed it. His personal life carried its own weight of change. He met makeup artist Sunetra Sastry while working at the BBC, and the two married in February 1990. Together they built a quiet life in Apperthorpe, raising two children, including a son, Ben, who went on to serve with the Brigade of Gurkhas. But after more than 2 decades together, the marriage ended. Their divorce was finalized in 2015. Life, as it often does, moved forward anyway. He found love again with actress Louise Ford, whom he met during a stage production. Their relationship grew into something lasting, and together they welcomed a child. A new chapter, built slowly and carefully, much like everything else in his life. There's one moment that reveals something essential about who Rowan Atkinson really is. On a flight, the pilot lost consciousness, and Rowan stepped and was calm, focused, present. No performance, no character. Just a man with a clear head doing what needed to be done. Miles from any stage and still entirely himself. The boy who once couldn't speak, who was mocked, isolated, called an alien by kids who didn't understand him, grew up to make the entire world laugh without saying much at all. That's not a coincidence. That's the whole story. He didn't overcome his struggle and leave it behind. He carried it forward, and somewhere along the way, it became his greatest gift. The world sees a legend. He sees a work in progress, and maybe that's exactly what makes him unforgettable.